Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I know if you're lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Welcome back to channel, or if this is your first time here for the start of a series of videos that I've never done before. And I want to take a couple of minutes at the start of this to explain the thought process behind it and exactly what I'm up to. This is the OBJ.140, and this is number 10 on my all-time most favoritist tanks list. What I'm doing is I decided to give myself a little bit of a Christmas present. Now, I love playing Blitz. I still love playing Blitz. And one of the things I love the most about playing Blitz is playing the tanks that I've got a real connection with. Tanks that I adore and tanks that I really, really enjoy playing. And those tanks, I try to figure out what my favorite tank was. And what I did was I went through a process and I decided to make a good video. The process was this. What are the last 10 tanks in the game that I would sell out of my garage if I 100% had to sell them? And it really narrowed down the focus to tanks, not just that I thought were really strong or that were great to drive and get footage for, or that were overpowered or anything like that. It turned it into a little bit of a nostalgia trip, a little bit of a memory lane manifesto. And what I came up with was 10 tanks. In fact, what I came up with is about 30 tanks. And I had to break it all down round by round until I came down with 16 that I couldn't really get rid of, and then sharpen that down to 10. And then I had to go through those 10 tanks and decide what was 10, what was 1, and how they filtered out in between. And this was the tank that came in at number 10. And you're going to hear me mention some of these guys throughout the course of this series of videos. And I hope you enjoy the videos, because I really enjoyed making them. I really enjoyed making these videos. Getting to drive these tanks again and thinking about what made them great for me in the first place was an absolute treat. And I wanted to thank everyone who's been part of the channel, who I platooned with as I was growing into a Blitz video content creator, and all the guys that I played with and against in the Patreon channel and everything, for giving this some kind of perspective and letting me think about tanks in this manner. Because you got to remember, this isn't just a scientific analytical exercise for me. These are the tanks that changed my life. I was a real estate agent before I started this. I was making videos in my car in the car park on a set of Apple headphones on my iPad, and I've ended up making videos for multiple games, traveling around the world, doing this full time, getting more time with my family, spending time with my kids, my wife, changing my whole lifestyle. And that's because of World of Tanks Blitz, and it's because of the joy I got out of these tanks. And a lot of the parts that are really important about these tanks are the connection they have with my mates. So one of the reasons the OBJ.140 made the top 10 on this list is not because it was an overpowered tank. It was an overpowered tank. When I first called the Twister Cup in New York, this tank was historical in that it was made up about 50% of the tanks played, and about 49% of the other tanks played were IS-7s. It was such a strong tank, and it was such a dominating meta that it created a really unpopular and unhealthy gameplay style where everyone would just drive Russian mediums at tier 10 and farm everyone else. And I was no different. I played about 600 odd games in the 140, and I played it with my mates. I played with Snake Eyes, I played with Aegon, I played with Chapos, I played with Ouija, I played with Swiss Cheezel, Hoodie, Shemaequus, all the guys from Storm, Skid, iBoss, Path, everyone who was anyone. When we played up and platooned, it was 140s that got rocked out along with 62As, or at tier 9 you'd run a T54. And because of that, I have a really strong connection to this vehicle, and it maintains its integrity as one of the better tier 10 mediums to play. It's still super mobile. It's still got a better upper glacis than a T62. It's still got an extra 1 degree of gun depression, which lets you get sneaky little shots like that off. It's still got a very strong turret, but it's not the strength of turret it once had. It doesn't have the no drop in DPM, crazy heat pen that it used to have. It doesn't have the +2, -2 matchmaking, which meant you could take a 140 out, charge the hill on mines, and watch as tier 8 mediums tried to contest. Like, good luck running up Mines Hill in a Pershing against an OBJ.140 platoon. Like, have a nice time on your way back to the garage. And because of that, getting a mastery in this tank, you used to need like 1700 base XP to get the mastery in this tank. It was absolutely insane. You could have 6k damage 5 kill games and get a second, you know, if it was a good week, get a second tier mastery, which was just madness. What it does very well though, and did very well back then and still continues to do, is this sneaky little Russian move here where you get down behind ridge lines and farm damage till the cows come home. Look at it work these ridges. Look at it just pump the damage out. It's still a Viper. It's still an absolute Viper that a lot of people vastly underrate in the day and age of super heavies like IS-4s, IS-7s, Mouses, and super big alpha guns like the guns on the, well, the 183, the Jaeger-Roo, the Grills, the T110E3s, all the massive amounts of TDs that you see running in these games. If you know what you're doing and you were part of the golden era of Russian medium play on Blitz, then you would have a lot of experience at utilizing the ridges, the berms, the cover, and making the most of it. The other thing that the Russian meds have never lost, and the OBJ.140 in particular, is lovely acceleration, lovely maneuverability, great traverse, and a propensity to just brawl, to bounce shots that they shouldn't bounce because they're so nimble and below the gun line a lot of the time, and they can side hug and just be a complete pest. And the other thing is they fire so quickly. There's that wonderful opportunity to get 2 shots to 1 in at times and the like. And I really do miss the days when these things were the king of Blitz, but at the same time, they marginalized so much of the population. Like if you wanted to do something a little bit different and you wanted to run around in tier 10, then you were really at the mercy of these guys because their armor profiles were more than the... yeah, they had nearly as good an armor profile as a lot of the tier 10 heavy tanks, and certainly as good an armor profile as pretty much every tier 9 heavy tank. And they were able to utilize it. And by that I mean you could go hull down in a 140 or a T62A, and if you were slightly above the target, you could just spam heat, lose no damage per minute number at all, and still get the job done in like absolutely gorgeous fashion. It was able to bounce, it was able to do all these things, and it can still do these things, just not to the level that it once could, which is fair enough. You certainly shouldn't be able to dominate everyone for no good reason, and that's something that the 140 was completely capable of doing. And I still have great games in this tank. One of the best things about making these videos has been that it has forced me to drive my favorite old tanks and drive them constantly. And I've had a few days of running around tier 9, 10, 8, 7, wherever, and really, really enjoying myself. There's going to be a lot of tanks that I think will be a little bit controversial, but you've got to remember, it's not just about being OP. It's not just about being the best tank in the garage. It's about why you would really love a tank isn't always going to be because, you know, it's not going to be the Helsing. It's not going to be the Drak. It's going to be the tanks that meant something to you and that were really a connection for you in Blitz. And the OBJ.140 is certainly a worthy top 10 tank. Now, remember, I've driven just about every single tank in the game. I've got 30,000 battles just on my standard normal Asia account. I've probably got another 10,000 battles in Asia on the contributor account. And I've had multiple contributor accounts that I've been through. I've got thousands of battles on my North American account and a freaking bunch on my EU account. So you can see what I mean when I say I've driven a lot of tanks. It's been a job for me, and it's been something that I've taken a lot of thought and care with. I mean, you can't just roll up. I mean, I've got 5,500 battles on my current contributor account on Asia, and that's like 10 or 12 that I had on the one before it. So we're well over 50,000 battles in my opinion. And that means I've had some experience with a lot of different tanks, and to come out with a top 10 was just excruciating. It was really, really hard. I really struggled to do it. And this is why I love the 140 still. I mean, you can see I'm just below the gun line here. There's all these tanks that would love to shoot me, camping down in the corner. The OBJ.140, the Tortoise, they're all there. They're all waiting for me to expose myself. And yet, I've managed to negotiate all the way through here and put a lot of damage out without actually being shot in any great way, shape, or form by the guy sitting in the corner. And that's because the tank is pretty special still. It's got a lot of very, very good characteristics that hallmark it as something that you should not be ignoring. Whoopsie daisy, the auto aim just tracked on down to the OBJ.140 there. If you were to pick one Russian medium to drive now, I'd probably go with the T62A. But that doesn't mean that the 140 doesn't work. And I've seen 140s all over the place. They are no longer the tournament tank de jour. They had their moment in the sun, though. I mean, having a 140 on your team was pretty much a guaranteed when you were playing tournaments for the first Twister Cup or the first Clan Wars season. They dominated because they were so agile. They had a little bit more gun depression, and they still had that crazy Russian DPM that at the time no one else could really match while offering all those other pluses. It's just a great tank, and it's a tank that I'm so happy I had a chance to run with. What do you think is going to be next? Leave your ideas in the comments below. There's 9 more to come. I'm going to be away in the UK for Christmas, so these are all queued up and ready to drop. I hope you like them. I really do, because it took me a long time to put these together. I did an awful lot of gameplay to get these together. Look at this thing just taking out tracks. Just bamboozling tier 10 heavies still after all these years. What a great tank. What a lovely addition to the Water Tanks Blitz universe. Thank you for being there for me, OBJ.140, when I needed you the most. Until next time, look after yourselves, boys and girls, and stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.